All right. It's good to be out there. Scrimmage one in the stadium. It's good to be in your surroundings and get familiar with that. Been since the spring game, so ran about 100. I think it was 102 plays, maybe give or take one or two. 81 with the ones and twos, pretty balanced there. I think it was 40 to 41 plays, and then 21 plays, if I'm doing my math right, with the threes. So good give and take. Got some explosive plays. You got some tackles for loss. Obviously from my standpoint, you want the defense to do better on the explosive plays and not give those up, and you're proud of the offense, and then vice versa there with tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. But thought one thing I've seen over the last few practices, we've had the officials there. It's always going to be that way early in camp, some penalties and things like that. I thought we did a lot better job today. Really did a really good job, actually, when I think about it. I don't know the number, but very few. So guys were out there playing ball and just understand the rhythm, the tempo, really trying to take advantage of being in here. You got the coach-to-player communication. We use that every day in practice. It shuts off with 15 seconds, but really simulate it with the officials and what that looks pretty much down to the second. So got some good work there. And then also, the tablet, iPad, on the sideline. We took two breaks, 6 minutes or so, just to get on the sideline and be able to understand what that looks like, because we, at this point, really aren't able to practice that in our complex during normal practices. So just using that and really understanding what the benefit is, take advantage of the confirmation or the learning opportunities that can happen in between drives during the breaks that we had today, but also not dwelling on it so much to where it affects our mindset and where our poise and confidence is going into the next drive. So proud of the guys. Thought they did a really good job staying relatively healthy, just your typical fall camp stuff. Guys dinged up a little bit here and there, but nothing more than what you'd expect.
All right, starting right with Charlie.
Yeah, hey coach, just what do you see from Jalen and the other quarterbacks today out there?
Thought the plays that are there and you need to make that throw, I think they're doing that at a higher level, not just today, but throughout camp, getting better at it. And a lot of that's the trust in your guys around you, that they're going to be where you anticipate them being, especially in those moments when you get a little bit of pressure. You get a little bit of a rush around you and just managing it. I still think there's a time or two we can throw the ball away. And I'm not just talking about Jalen, I'm talking about all of them. It's across the board, just to keep us out of those situations where it turns into a third and extra long or something like that. But that's just here and there. That's not something that's happening a lot, but it's one of those that just kills a drive. And when you get 11 or 12 a game, every one of them is important. So those are great learning moments, and we got a lot of those opportunities again today, where we just get rid of the football, live to see another down. We got a lot of plays that can get us first downs, as long as it's reasonable.
Up front here with Jake.
Yeah, how did Jam Miller and the running backs look today?
Yeah, I thought we hit a couple explosives. Jam had a nice play down in the red zone there. A lot of it was the offensive line, as it always is. I think there's some schemes we're really good at. And our defense, obviously, on the opposite end can continue to work on defending. And then I think there's some things that we know are going to need to do that we got to continue to just work on. That's part of the process of the line being all in sync. But one thing I'll just say about our running backs, they're very versatile. And if they maybe don't get those seams as much as they want in the run game, shoot, they're a threat in the pass game. I don't care if it's checking out and we swing it out to them in the flat, or if they're really one of the primary route runners that's getting out of the backfield. They're doing just a good job all around. And both Jam and Justice taking pretty much all the reps with the ones there. They did a great job. So running the football, physical. Really not many times where you just like, oh, come on, or anything like that. So I just really feel that we got a great and solid backfield with both of those guys.
Stay up front here on the left with Kurt.
Coach, the SEC's been reported at least to be considering an injury report rule this year, and I wondered if, hey, what's your opinion of that, and also if the coaches have been involved in any conversation about it, and has it been presented as anything other than gambling?
That's the main reason why I understand it's presented to us, and it was sometime in the spring. I can't remember what meeting it was, but it's been discussed, and I get it. I get why it could be necessary, helpful. I talk to our guys all the time about, obviously the gambling from their end, but and how that's not allowed, and you can't get involved in that, but also just any information getting out of our program. And how that impacts, the outside world outside of our bubble. So I get it, and whatever we got to do, whatever they put in place, we'll abide by it.
In the back left, Kennington.
It seems like a common theme over the last week or so is coaches emphasizing players lining up in the right spot and things procedurally going well in practice. How did you see that translate to the first scrimmage?
Yep. I think the offense maybe drew the defense off one time. And so just procedure-wise, I don't know if there was any false starts offensively, no illegal formations, so no movements. And if there was, maybe it was one that I can't remember. But that's where I think that, we were pretty clean. So the mental mistakes, or what I would call a foolish penalty, where we're just not sharp, really kind of honed in on that here. So I think we took the next step with the other penalties too. Really not much from a holding. I don't know if we got any holding calls out there. We had one kind of legal block, block back, crack back block kind of. That was really good for us to actually have happen because we can learn from that and talk through that. So, just, guys, maybe one pass interference. So the penalties were really down at minimal. So I like the way we're having some urgency, and we'll move around offensively, and the guys are all getting set. So all those processes that we have in place, the guys are doing a really good job.
On the right with Joe.
Coach, you just finished your first scrimmage. What would you say is your biggest area of concern for this team over the next couple of weeks until the season starts?
Probably just staying healthy, and again, I feel good about where we're at. This will be our biggest scrimmage. This will be the most plays that we run next week. We'll have a scrimmage too, but it won't be quite as many. It'll be solid, but just being healthy. We need all the reps. We have some veterans. There's no doubt about it, but we certainly have a lot of young guys that need to continue to develop and that are important. If they're not in the twos, or if they're not in the ones, they're definitely in the two rotation. So those reps are invaluable to those guys, not just for them, but also the trust that it takes as a whole unit. So I think that's the biggest thing, just because our youth is, just kind of there around different position groups. But we'll just, guys doing a great job with their bodies. Anytime they have a chance, extra time, they're in the training room, doing a good job in just before practice, after practice, doing what they should, being a pro, and those championship habits, you can see them really taking them and placing importance on them.
Stay up front here on the left with Steven.
Coach, how effective was the defensive line out there today, just creating pressure out there?
Yeah, I think it was the threes really got a lot of pressure, of course. So I think you're more focused on the ones and twos. And I would say there's times when they got home and it was more of the real obvious pass downs. There was maybe two drives that I can think of, the one with the ones, one with the twos, where it was back-to-back and the offense got on their heels. But I also see the offensive line slowly, coming together and just being in sync and understanding where their help is. So where it was at, it's kind of like the spring, where the offense is slowly starting to catch up to where they should be. But it's been a good, consistent pass rush, and I think a lot of that is strength in numbers. When the guys are out there, they're fresh on defensive line. They're competitive and trying to win a position and playing time. And so, the strength in numbers is really, really good for our whole unit, I think, defensively, especially up front.
Stay up front here with Cody.
Who maybe impressed you when it came to the receivers or pass catchers as a whole?
Yeah, and the ball was spread around. You know, when you have scrimmages like this, you're not like, we'll personnel things and we'll get guys in certain spots in the game plan. Right now, especially in a first scrimmage, a lot of it is just you're just lining up in your, you know, we call it X, Y, Z, you know, and H. And so those guys are playing those spots. And so the ball really gets spread around. I bet if we looked at the stat sheet, it would be almost every receiver catching balls. So it's not like the, you know, one guy had, you know, 5 to 7 catches. They all walk away from a day like today probably disappointed, you know, and there's no reason to be disappointed. It's just because everyone gets involved, everyone gets their touches. You know, so it's not like anyone was highlighted today. You know, there's just good, solid plays that I'd expect guys to make, and they made them. You know, really didn't see the ball on the ground when you have those clear-cut catches, and that's I guess what I like, is that the plays that should be made, they were being made.
Last one on the right with Kate.
You talked about this being the biggest scrimmage. How much does the scrimmage compared to practice kind of help y'all with clarifying maybe some of the position battles?
Yeah, I think it's good because especially when it comes to getting guys on the ground and tackling, and we you know, the rules now have changed, you know, to where really practice 6 is the first time you can put on pads, and you know, so the full pads, and so that was our first time really tackling, and so this wasn't the first day taking guys to the ground, but it really, you know, emphasizes all those drills that you've been doing up until this point, and now it's live for, you know, 102 plays, and so. I thought our guys did a good job of running to the ball, tackling. You know, there's also the other side of it too. You want to see who can make people miss when you create space for them. And you know, there was a time or two where just the offense should win. You know, they're out in there in the wide open space and got to make that guy miss. And so it's now how the defender, you know, knows where his help's at, knows where the sideline's at, and uses those things to just minimize, you know, what that gain's going to be. So it's all about football and the situation. That's what I emphasize to our team here right at the end of practice is these football moments and situations you're in, understanding them.
All right, thank you, Coach.
One more. Yep.
Just with all the award watch lists that are already come out, everybody knows the names. Getting into full pads and scrimmage, is there anybody that people aren't talking about that's kind of stood out to you?
Oh man, I apologize. I don't even know who's on the watch list right now. I saw maybe did I see who did I see? Yes, I saw CJ. Okay, I guess we could go on down it, but I'm not sure exactly who's on those watch lists and not. I think the guys. It's a cool moment for them, but it comes and goes pretty quick. We hopefully are talking about those guys and those awards at the end of the year. So sorry, I'm not as in tune to that as I should be. All right, appreciate it. Roll Tide.